from the United States, Gerald Celente. Gerald, welcome. It's a delight always to see you. What about that as the first question? Did Biden make a blunder, or did he have no choice really but to do this?
Well, before I do that, I want to thank you so much for having me on, and what a great job Mother of All Talk Shows is doing. But I think that in this time and age, you can't call it mother. You got to also call it father or transgender of all talk show hosts. You really got to be. But anyway,
parent of all talk shows.
Yeah, the transgender of all talk shows. This way you get everybody in. But the stupidity of what's going on and going on to Biden is what's disgusting about it is that he BS'd for so many times that he said he wasn't going to pardon his son. And that's when he was going to run for president. So he lied. But that's typical of all politicians. All they are lying pieces of crap to get their way into office. So should he have done it? Judge Andrew Napolitano, who was he was a Supreme Court judge in New Jersey. He knows the Bill of Rights and the Constitution better than anybody that I know. He just wrote an article about the Biden pardoning his son. And he goes on to say, it's not right. But he goes on to also say what the son did was not that terrible in terms that, let me get the proper language here, is that he harmed no one by his tardy tax payment with interest and penalties. And he harmed no one obtaining a gun permit and discarding the weapon. Thus, the three components of crime, legitimate authority, palpable harm, and articulable victim, are all absent in the Hunter Biden case. So that's the way the judge looks at it. But as I look at it, again, he lied and said he wasn't going to do it. But think about this. Then you got Trump. Trump gave this guy, Jared Kushner's father, when Trump was president, he pardoned him of his criminal activities. Oh, and now he just appointed him as America's ambassador to France. I'm just pointing it out. This is not a government. It's a crime syndicate. Hey, I'm the president. I'll pardon and do what the hell I want. You go to jail for committing the smallest crime. It's prosecution to the fullest for we, the people of Slavelandia, and a slap on the wrist for the gang in charge.
Yeah, but Gerald, I think the judge is correct, by the way, about those two particular crimes. But Biden didn't pardon him for those two particular crimes that he'd been convicted of. He pardoned him for any crime that he may have committed. And what date did he choose? January of 2014, 3 weeks before Hunter started work, in quotation marks, at Burisma in Kiev. That's the rat that we can smell, isn't it?
Well, of course, it's not only, it's also that other little clown boy that ran for president. And again, these are all daddy's boys, John Kerry, his stepson-in-law, Chris Hines of the Hines 57 family. He was also on Burisma Energy. And this is after the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in 2014. Right away, these two clown boys that don't know anything about Burisma Energy or energy, they're on the board of directors, making tens of millions of dollars in front of everybody's eyes, but that's okay. So yeah, I agree with you. What they're doing, it's a crime syndicate that people call a government. Again, this is your Trends Journal back in 2014. You see how happy that guy is? It's all about America's overthrow of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych. And the article is written by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former Assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. And he makes it clear right here. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. Ukraine presented the perfect opportunity for Washington to advance its hegemonic agenda, and goes on to talk about the overthrow. And then Biden brings his little boy in, a little drug addict, nothing little clown, shot up freak. But I know all about Boris managing.
Yeah, of course, he'd never struck a blow in the oil and gas industry before that, but he did have the key to the door of the big guy. Is there anyone now still denying that the big guy who was frequently in the room with Hunter in his conversations, not just, by the way, with Ukrainian businesses, but Chinese businesses too? Is anyone in any doubt that Joe Biden is the big guy? And do you think Trump's going to pursue him after January?
Again, it's a crime syndicate. Biden's been this little clown boy of nothing. He's been sucking off the public tit for over 60 years. A little jerk. And again, I want to make this clear too. All these little warmongers, you talked about Trump, he kills Soleimani, trying to overthrow the government of Venezuela. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to be tough in it. These guys, they're all, I'm the same age as Trump. And Biden's a couple of years older than me. We grew up during the Vietnam War. These little clown boys that talk real tough. Well, they got 4 and 5 draft deferments. And they love war. So anyway, going back to what Trump is going to do, Trump is going to do anything he wants to do, when he wants to do it, and how he wants to do it, and nobody's going to stop him. So Biden could get away with murder. They all could get away with murder. Look at their track records. By their deeds you shall know them. Look at the murderers. What, you like Bill Clinton's murders? Look what he did to Iraq. Killed over 500,000 Iraqi children. Ruined Yugoslavia. How about the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Barack Obama? When we got Afghan troop surge, I want that guy Gaddafi out of there. Get rid of Assad. All right, it's a crime syndicate. Talk about anyone you want.
Yeah, I get that. You mentioned Vietnam. That means you were alive during the Korean War. I was born just after it. How does Korea look today, Gerald? It's like a comedy show last night with the army crashing into the parliament to arrest the MPs, and then having marched them to the top of the hill, the grand old Duke of York had to march them down again. And now it's him that's going to be impeached. South Korea, some success story, huh?
Again, you were talking about Boris Johnson before. The best cartoonist in the world. Couldn't come up with a little freakier little clown boy than that. Take a look at that little Catson Macron over there in France. Hey, how about Olaf Scholz? The people that get into government are the lowest pieces of slime that you could imagine. Oh, not my language, a language of a real man that was in war, that hated war. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces, 2-term president. Google it up. Any man seeking the office of president is either an egomaniac or crazy. And that's all they are. They're arrogant little egomaniacs. Again, I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate at 26 years old. I quit. It was the worst job I ever had, to watch grown men grovel to suck their way up to the top. I've been with presidents, prime ministers, and princes. It's a freak show. We own the trademark presidential reality show. That's all it is. It's a comedy show of clowns and freaks destroying the world in a country near you.
Yeah, we'll be very lucky to see New Year 2030, that is for sure. On that subject, the cabinet, which Donald Trump is trying to push through, is so ridiculous. Such a cavalcade of clowns. You have to wonder what it is he's up to. They've put a guy as the ambassador to Israel, a guitar strumming evangelical nutter who's praying for the rapture, praying for the end of times. Huckabee. The guy is trying to make defense secretary, not going that well actually, believes in the red heifers. He believes that 2 perfectly red cows have to be slaughtered outside the gates of the old city of Jerusalem in order to rebuild the Jewish temple on the grounds of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which will provoke the final battle between good and ill and bring about the end of times. That's the guy that's going to be your defense secretary, thanks to Donald Trump's nomination. As we say over here, Gerald, you couldn't make this stuff up, you know.
That's what I was saying. It's a freak show. Look at the people he's picked from Fox News. And he's getting one Zionist after another. Oh, and they brag about Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, read about her. She says Islamophobia is going to take over the world. And we have to support Israel. Oh, you can support their genocide, huh? It's one after another. And look at Trump. Trump just came out. Matter of fact, I have the article. It was right here. I just had it a second ago. Yeah, this is from Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanks U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday for his statement on releasing the captives in Gaza. Trump said, quote, everybody is talking about the hostages who are being so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East, but it's all talk, no action. Those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has ever been hit in a long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now. Oh, release the hostages? Hey, how about the 10,000 hostages that Israel's holding over there, the Palestinians? Oh, no, you don't have to release them. How about stopping the genocide going on? No, 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 no. We got to release the hostages. Again, totally against what Hamas did, totally understand why it happened. And to show you where it's going, Netanyahu said, I want to thank President Trump for his strong statement yesterday. It is the very strong statement which makes it clear that there is one party responsible for this situation, and that is Hamas. Forget about the 45,000 Palestinians that have been killed. And if you listen to Lancet or others, it's around 200,000. Forget about the 100,000 that are wounded. Oh, they just came out with the numbers of what it's going to cost to rebuild Gaza. Oh, between 200 to 500 billion dollars. Oh, but how dare those Hamas? All right, well, look what's going on. Trump is going to ramp up this Israel war, guaranteed. He was the guy that killed Soleimani in Iran, and they're going to ramp this up. They're going to ramp it up because when all else fails, they take you to war, and we're seeing what's going on with Netanyahu brought up on his charges that he has to go face very soon. He's going to ramp this war up, gets the people's minds off it, just like they forgot about the 39 weeks of protests that were going on in Israel that Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel, called a civil war because of Netanyahu's Judicial Reform Act that the people didn't want.
Finally, Gerald, it's always sobering indeed to talk with you because you're in the business of predicting trends, of spotting trends, highlighting trends. I'm sure that many watching this tonight will want to get their hands on the journal. Could you just reiterate how people can follow your work, can read the journal, how they can get hold of it?
Just go to trendsjournal.com, and it's only $2.56 a week, US dollars, nothing. And it's about 200 pages a week, no ads, from high-tech science to technocracy to economics to geopolitics. We cover the world. And, you were talking before, one of the callers came in and you were talking about journalism in the UK, The Guardian. I call the people in the media prostitutes, media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and government whoremasters. Journalism is dead. Look at all the companies, BBC, one after another, firing people, firing people, firing people. There's no journalism anymore. It's dead. So we're trying to give people what used to be journal. We're independent. We have no ads. It's only subscription. Nobody tells us what to say. We only give you the people the truth and trends.
Well, they'd be fools not to take you up on it. Gerald Celente, as always, a brilliant tour de force. Thanks for joining us.